What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to go over the monthly charts. We're going to look at some macro key things to know if we're on track to go into this big bull market or we turn in a corner. So we're going to cover a lot of charts today, less of individual altcoins, but more of some macro charts that are key drivers to understanding whether we're on track or not. So first off, with the bond yields, we have a 1 month sell now that flashed. We have the momentum died out down here, but we still have the MACD green. We're waiting for that MACD to flip red, because once we do, we'll know that bond yields are going to come down hot. If you look at the 3-week chart, it looks like we got 18 days for this candle, but it would have to actually happen within these 3 weeks for us to pull down like this for the 3-week chart. And that's what will have the monthly chart, the MACD, flip to red. So it looks like we could be able to do it. We have a 3-week sell now that flashes well too. We have a lot of high time frame momentum things that are turning around. If we look at the 3-day chart, you can see that we got rejected by the 786 from the high down to the low here. So the key macro level for us not to break above is 4.08%. We've seen multiple taps, rejection, and we got close here earlier today. So that level is our key macro level. And then the one that we want to break to the downside is 3.25%. So looking at that, and looking at these higher time frame things, it does seem like we will roll over and we'll come down probably ultimately and test this 200 moving average on the monthly chart around 2.6% to 2.86%. That's what I'm seeing as far as that goes. And then we have the trend line coming up like this that we already broke below, and we've been having trouble. And that's why we've been getting rejected, getting above it. So you can see it stretched all the way back to 2020, support. We broke it back here, rejection, and we've yet to get back above that upward sloping trend line support. So it's clear that the momentum is shifting and starting to roll over for bond yields. If we look at the dollar, the monthly chart, I think we have a 1 month sell now signal. Yep, so we have a 1 month sell now signal, and we have a 6-week sell now signal. No, 2 month, but we have a 1 month, a 6-week, a 3-week that we got back here in 2022. And we had a 2-week back here, a 1 week back there. So we've already, in the macro sense, changed the trend of the dollar. What I'm looking at on the 1 week chart is the stock RSI cross up. This week, we need to see the dollar roll over, because we do not want to see that cross up through that 50 line, because then we'll see a sharp spike for the dollar. So we want to see that roll over. Then we have this trend line coming down like that. So I would say the max we could go is around 102.30, 102.5. That's where I'd want to see us get rejected at. And then if I went to a 10-day chart, we want to see this TSI continue to go down here. You look at the last time the TSI was below the zero line was every single bull market. So the dollar needs to maintain in this bearish phase for cryptos to go into a parabolic rally. Looking at this is a good sign that we're below this trend line. And then we have this horizontal support here around 101.27 and ultimately around like 100. So really we want to get back below 100, that psychological level. And then the cryptos will continue to melt up. But until then, we're maintaining cautiously optimistic. On the 12-day chart, we need to see that TSI come down through that zero line, because just like I was showing on the 10-day chart, every single time it does, we're in a parabolic bull market. So we're getting close here as far as that goes. We look on the weekly chart, we just don't want to see that cross up. We do not want to see that cross up. And for us to come above the zero line in the TSI on the weekly chart, because if you notice, when we did back here, it was August of 2021, and we fired up in the dollar, and then that was really the start of our bear market for crypto. And then if we go to the daily chart, we had a 1-day buy now back here, but if I show you that trend line a little bit closer, around 102.61, and then those horizontal lines as well too that I was showing, like right there. And then we have this one right here we want to break back down below, which is 101. So that's that. And then the 786 for this micro move is in line with that trend line from the high down to that low, and that's why it's so important for us to get rejected by that 102.70 level. Then if we go to the stock market, if we go on the monthly chart, we had that cross up there in the TSI, and we're above the zero line, so that's bullish. And if we look at the pink, it's above the blue. Every single time that's the case, we rip up. every single time the blue's above the pink, we're in a crashing structure. And back here, the great financial crisis, the blue was above the pink, and that's what we saw, a crash. Blue was above the pink, we saw a crash, and now we see the pink getting above the blue, just like back here. That marked the end. It marked the end of the great financial crisis. So until we see, the momentum come back down or the blue come back above the pink, the direction for the stock market is up. If we look at the total crypto market cap on the monthly chart, you can see that the TSI is getting close to crossing up. It's not quite there yet. The MACD is curling in. We're below the zero line. We want to see us cross up and get above the zero line. And then looking at kind of where we're at in the market structure, this horizontal line here, it's critical for us to stay above that 1.12, 1.13 trillion. We could come even lower, like around 1.6 trillion. Critical for us to keep that market structure. If we look at this trend line coming up like this, that's coinciding with the trend line is coinciding with the horizontal support. So we must hold that level. If we go to the 3-week chart, you can see it a little better. Actually, let me go to a weekly chart. We'll see even more. Yeah, so right there, it's coinciding. So if we take a look at the low to the high, the Fibonacci retracement, low to high here, around 1.03 trillion is a 786. So that's our final stand, I would say. 1.3 trillion, 1.03 trillion is our final stand for us to hold. And then in the short term, 1.13, of course. But if we look at the weekly chart, so we're starting to see a cross down. We do not want to see that. You want to see this week and next week immediately reverse back up. It's such a critical week, next week as well too, for follow through as far as the next direction of the crypto market. Looking at the stock RSI, the momentum's heading up, which is good, but we need to see that reflected in the price. So that's what I'm watching there. 3-day chart, we're still maintaining market structure. You can see the horizontal line here. We had our support back here, resistance. We got above support, resistance, support ever since June. So very critical for us to hold that 1.13 trillion. And for us to not cross down, but ultimately have one of those moments where it looks like we're gonna and then rip up. And if we go to the past, like July of 2020, we did have like a little cross down and then we crossed up and then we ripped up in August. So let's go to that part of the chart. That was like back here. So if we were to copy that over, it would be something like that. But we're actually behind. We didn't have quite the same similar movement. This move went higher than the last highs. This one's actually lower. So I would say it would be somewhere around like this would be the case, like that. So this would say by late August, we start our ascent, but it would be kind of sideways movements for August, but we'll have to see how that plays out. It's never going to match perfectly. All I know is we need to see on the 3-day chart, this stock RSI curl back up, because whenever we curl up, that's when price goes up. But right now we're crossing down. If we look at the 1-day chart, you can see the stock RSI is starting to cross down, and that's why we need to see a cross up ASAP. So that's that. If we look at the altcoin market cap, if we go to the monthly chart, is getting stuck below this 50 moving average. We need to get above that 50 moving average and have the monthly candle close above 350 billion. If we look at where's our critical resistance, it's around 415 billion. And then we have this middle line of the void lines coming down there hot as well too. So if we look at the momentum, we have the stock RSI close to crossing up. Well, it's actually crossed up. We need to get above that 50 line. We get above that 50 line, it's looking just like the past bull market right before we really kicked off. So really getting above that 50 line in the stock RSI in the monthly and seeing that TSI cross up is what we're looking for the altcoin market cap, for us to really kick into gear and this pink to cross above the blue. Because notice when the pink crossed above the blue back here, it was June of 2020. We fired up since that point. Right now, we're not quite there yet. Not quite there for the pink to coming up. So but the blue looks similar to back here, where April of 2020, we started to come down. May of 2020, we just need to see that pink really kick up. And then the monthly chart, the EMA ribbon, sitting around 306 billion. But if I were to go to the daily chart and we were to look at some key levels, if we were to roll over here, it would be around 333 billion, where I'd want to see us hold as support. Because looking at the 9-hour chart, a breakdown of the 786 would bring us to around 333 billion. And that would be from the low to the high up here as well too, the 786 around 334 billion. So that would be the level if we do pull down and we break this trend line coming up, where I'd look to add on to positions. Right now, cautiously waiting in the wings to see what happens here. But you can see that we're converging. So if we do hold here and we start the trend back up, we have the 200 moving average going like that. We have the EMA ribbon coming up. We have this trend line. We have this downwards resistance. So really we could ping pong back and forth in here until August, like the first week, and then we could rip up. But first, we need to see how we're going to react to this trend line here. It's critical that we hold this level, given that on the 12-hour chart, we have the 200 moving average sitting here. So from this low to this high as well too, we have the 786 sitting around 346 billion. It's about 2 billion away. So really our key level right now is just a tiny bit below. If we can hold that and then start to rip up past this trend line, then we can start talking about alt season. But until then, we need to see if this is going to hold. And right now on the daily chart, the EMA ribbon is sitting right there and we're holding it. We want to see us press up like this, get above the 200 moving average, and then this EMA ribbon can flip from red to green. And then we can give this fib overlap a test, break up, hold that support, and then we'll finally be above the 200 moving average. Price action will be above there. The EMA ribbon will be flipped green, and then that will be classified as an official bull market for the altcoins. And looking at the 1-day chart, we're on the 2-day chart. Looking at the 2-day chart, this TSI going sideways like this, yeah, we're going to find out a decision this week. We want to see it not cross down, but go sideways and then ultimately rip up. So that's what we want to watch for if we're going to see this be a fake breakdown and then a rip up. But if this crosses down with confidence, then we're going to see a brief correction and then we can go. I think if we were to cross down on the 2-day chart, we would cross down and we wouldn't go below the 0 line. And then if we start to curl up at the 0 line, then that's the time to really go in hard. So that's what I'm watching there. If you look at the 12-hour chart, we really need to see us maintain above the 0 line to know that we're not going to have that correction. If we go below the 0 line, we're going to have that correction. But right now, so far, so good. But we just need to see in the next 24, 48 hours, us find some momentum back to the upside. If we look at the stock market against Bitcoin, this is one of the key charts we're looking at for the past year now to know whether we're going into a bear or bull market. We had said back here in November 2022, hey, we're getting rejected from here. It looks like we're going to start to kick up for crypto, and we did. And then we said the same thing back in June. And right now we're getting close to testing these levels again. So if I take this high down to this low, I think that if we were to keep pressing up, we have a correction in crypto, it would be short-lived. We would just come up to here. And then at this point, we'll say the same thing again, that we're going to see cryptos bounce and then this would fall. So like we're either going to have one more dip and then we're going to head into up only, or we're ready for up only now. It's just a matter of, are we going to come up to test this trend line again, or are we going to roll over right now? And right now the momentum on the weekly chart does say that we're crossing up, and it does say we're going to come up to here and have one more dip. But I would say that would be the last one, because then we'll roll over, because then we have this trend line coming up. And every single time we break the upward sloping trend line support, that's when we really waterfall down in the chart. And that's what signifies big crypto bull markets. Like back here, you have this support trend line. We break it. This was September 2020, huge crypto bull market. Then back here in 2016, 2017, we broke it, like say right here. That was 2016. Big crypto bull market, big crypto bull market. So really, like we're squeezing close, and we're closer than ever. Like we are literally closer than ever to a huge crypto bull market. It's just a matter of we're in the final stage. So it's not going to be so clear right now, but once it's clear, it's clear. And we are like very, very close. And this stretches until like November of this year. I would say, looking at this, if we do pull up, that will be the best last buying opportunity we'll get. So this is one of the key things we're taking a look at on the 3-day chart. We want to see this roll over. We want to see this cross back down, because if it does, then we know it's game on. If we look at the altcoin season pulse chart, looking at the 1 week chart, we have the 1 week sell now signal, but we really need to break this middle line and the void line. So it's just a hair below. We have the momentum coming down here, but we really need to see that pink cross above the blue. The blue cross above the pink to have this break this line right here. But right now we're like in this phase of trying to figure out what it's going to do, but it's going to happen quickly, and all of a sudden that we're just going to roll over with it. So once it does, be prepared, because you're going to see these things fire up faster than you can ever imagine, just like we were calling back in June. So this is what I'm watching as far as this goes. And on the monthly chart, we do have this stock RSI looking great to roll over. You love to see that, because it's like an M and it will come down, and that's on a monthly chart. So that would mean that altcoins are ready really to rally here for the months ahead. If we take this trend line coming up, so that critical line is like a key macro line on that weekly chart for us to break, because if we do, then we're ready to go. We're ready to go. So that's that. Bitcoin dominance as well too. Looking at the weekly chart, we have a sell now signal, and we have this trend line coming up that we've been forming since back in 2022. So really, if we break this is the first place. And then if we break that, mega moon, we're going to the mix. So mini moon, mega moon. So that's what I'm watching there. And we do have on the weekly chart, momentum has rolled over. You can see it clearly. And then on the monthly chart, we're starting to see us have some weakness and strength. Then looking at Bitcoin needs to hold in the short term 29,000 to 29,200. It's hanging on by a thread. If we break it, I would say we're going to come down to around 28 to 28 and a half. And then I would say that would be the bottom at that point. And that would coincide with everything else I was showing. But looking at the monthly chart, we have the 1 month buy now signal that's about to flash. Like this is about to be confirmed in 5 hours. So that 1 month buy now signal, huge, as far as we've never seen it before in all of Bitcoin's history, a 1 month buy now signal. But you can see that the sell nows have called like basically all the bull market tops here. So this 1 month buy now signal is huge. And really, if we can maintain above 28,000, then we're good, because that will maintain above the EMA ribbon and the middle line of the void lines. So yeah, that 1 month buy now signal solid. We have the TSI crossing up. We have the MACD flipping green, and we're getting close to getting above the zero line. So I would love to see in August us get above that zero line in the TSI, and for this pink to cross above the blue at the 50 line. Looking at the 3 week chart, since the 3 week chart just closed, we have the TSI coming up above the zero line. It's getting close. And stock RSI is where we want it to be. Like we're in like this phase back here, like September, October, where we saw our first like cross down in the momentum. Like we saw our first cross down. So like these next 3 weeks, we want to have a big rally out of Bitcoin to match kind of what we did back in October of 2020, which was like back here where we have our correction, and then we just start to send it straight up only. So like back here. Then on the 2 week chart, we actually are above the TSI zero line, which is solid. We're above there, but we just want to see that momentum continue. You don't want to see cross downs. This whole bull market in 2020, we saw no cross downs on the 2 week chart for the TSI. So that's like going to be our gauge as far as if we're maintaining our bullish structure. If we see us cross down, it's no good. And getting above that key level, the 50 moving average there around 31,000 is so key. We need to get above 31K. And then ultimately, if we get above 35 to 36K, then we're golden. So those are the levels that I'm watching there. And then if we look at the altcoin market cap, I don't think I went into the 1 month chart there, or I might have. But yeah, the 1 month chart, we're doing similar. You know, we have our triple kind of bottom here, where we had 1, 2, 3, just like 1, 2, 3. So what I think is we should be entering a phase of up only, but not until we break above 380 billion to 400 billion will that be so set in stone. We're trying to nip the bottom, and nipping the bottom means it's never going to feel like, oh, this is 100% going to be the case. it's scary until it's not. So I would say we're closer to the bottom than ever. And really tomorrow is going to show us a sign of the way for the month of August. Usually around the candle closes, especially for a monthly, you'll see a lot of volatility before the candle closes and right after. So prepare for that volatility today. But right now we got some good signs as far as the bottom being closer than ever. So on the weekly chart as well too. Getting above that 400 billion would get us above the weekly EMA ribbon as well too. And that would kick us into gear. So that's our key resistance we got to get above. Once we do, it's up only. And then that will be the moment where I'm greasing it up. But right now, taking it easy until we see some more signs in the market. But on the weekly chart, you can see that we're right on that trend line coming up. And then we have this horizontal support as well too, looking to the left, support this whole way. So 333 billion if we do have a correction. So those are the things I'm watching on the higher time frame charts and watching to see if we're going to see this TSI continue to move upwards. Because if we do, this is going to be the moment where we enter into a melt up for the market. And then looking at the signals, pretty sure on the 3-week chart, we have a prepare to buy soon. On the total altcoin market cap chart, we have a 3-week prepare to buy soon. We've already came back down to test these lows here and fill that gap. Really, we're just getting hung up at this middle line and the void line. So getting above 355 billion is going to be crucial. And looking at the stock RSI movement and seeing the similarities back to this last bottom here, where we got out of this like weakness in the stock RSI, see how we get up. So we're below this whole time, just like we were below this whole time. And then we pop up, come back down, pop up, come back down, we cross up. And then this was April of 2020 all the way until like August 2020, where we finally got back up here. And that's when altcoins bottomed. And then we saw what happened months after. That would be the equivalent to something like this playing out, which would mean by October this year, it'd be at like 660 billion market cap for the altcoins, which would shoot a lot of them up. But then by the first quarter of 2024, we're full out mania mode. So the next 6 months are going to dictate how you live out the next 6 years. So really buckling down, preparing for this big explosive movement is a must for the future. So definitely buckle down, buckle in, focus up, because we're sitting at the calm of the storm here. I would say either we're about to rip up or one last pull down and then we rip up and it's up only. So that's kind of the market monthly check-in. All those key charts we're watching, we'll keep you updated in the Discord. Link is in the bio, and I'll see you guys in the next video.